What up, YouTube? What up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're gonna be reacting to. We're gonna be reacting to 3 true Christmas horror stories animated. Let's go ahead and get in there.
December had only just arrived when it happened. I was a mere 10 years of age, still naive as to what awaited me in the outside world. Every year, at the start of December, when the snow began to fall and the air froze, my family and I would dash out into the fresh morning snow, spending the entire weekend building snowmen, snow forts, and having snowball fights.
I didn't do the intro right. My name is DJ After Dark. Welcome to the channel. Now we can go ahead.
But one year, we were met with a ghastly occurrence that forever changed how we saw Christmas. The Friday that came before the first weekend of December, my family and I were all raving about our excitement towards the snow that was to come the next day, and our plans for what we were going to do in it. I went to bed soon after, brimming with anticipation, so much so that I could hardly sleep. I spent that night staring out of my window as a blanket of white covered it, drooling down the glass pane. Throughout the silence, I could make out the extremely faint noise of shuffling coming from outside, even the mild crunching of snow below boots.
Why don't you have anything covering your window? See, this is a thing that irks my soul, man. Why you laying in a room with no blinds, no curtains, nothing but open window for anybody to look into while you sleeping? Hey, this your life. You do what you do.
I wouldn't be surprised if people were already out
This
in
is
the
crazy.
snowfell, lavishing in it before the morning came out. What I found slightly unnerving was that the sound seemed to be coming from my garden. I remember it was at this point that my eyes began to close, and I was quick to fall into a great deep slumber soon after. The next morning I leapt out of bed, throwing open the wardrobe and piling on all the clothes I could find, preparing myself for the adventure outside. I could hear my sister and father doing the same, and I was sure my mother would join us later, after her lion, of course. Once ready, we all hurried down the stairs, bursting into the kitchen, grabbing the set of keys that opened.
Wait. Did he say after a line? A line of what? You know what? I don't want to know.
In the back door. As the keys twisted, I could already feel the cold gripping onto me, but the adrenaline kept it at bay. The door swung open. There was no snow, only weak little clumps dotted around the drenched grass.
Yeah.
I could feel my heart sink, as well as that of my father and sister.
No snow, eh? It's alright. Let's go put on a film instead. I'm sure there'll be more to come later.
My father was extremely optimistic for the circumstances, but as they walked off with weighted steps, it looked like lines, like the snow had been removed systematically. But by who? I didn't think it was worth the trouble to think about, so I closed the door and joined my family for a movie. That night, the same routine played out. I laid in bed, watching as faint drops of snow drizzled from above, severing my vision from the outside world. That night, the same routine played out. Simultaneously, I was able to hear the sound of crunching grow louder and louder from outside. I crept out of my bed to look out the window, but the snow was too thick to see further than a couple of meters. I went back to bed, crossing my fingers, begging for the snow to remain. I slumped on my winter wear and joined my family as we walked down the stairs, making our way over to the back door, with a general air of fatigue hanging over us all. Once again, the door creaked open, only to reveal yet again.
Man, who y'all piss off, bro? Why nobody want y'all to celebrate in the snow? Huh? Who y'all cut off at the light? Who y'all didn't let get in front of y'all at the stove? Who taking your snow away? This is heartbreaking right here. Every day the same thing. You should be kind of expecting this by now. Don't let this happen again.
No snow. only subtle lines in the soaking wet grass. My father said the same thing as before, but I couldn't hear him. I was far too concerned with the lying grass. Dad, why are there lines in the grass?
Probably just from how the snow melted. But cheer up.
Huh?
Another movie day never hurt
Hey.
anyone.
Once again with the optimism.
This man is
I wasn't
insane.
entirely convinced, but
How
what
the-
else was there to do? And with that, we all wandered drearily over to the sofa and spent the rest of the day watching movies. Then came the evening. It was pitch black outside when I heard a noise rustling about in the garden. I looked at my family, seeing if any of them heard it. Until all of a sudden, a loud bang hit the window. Alarmed, we all leapt up out of our skins. My sister began to cry, and my mother and father looked frantically at one another.
Wow.
Then towards the circle of snow dripping from the window. My father motioned for my mother to grab my sister and move to the back end of the living room. He then made his way over towards the window, searching for the source of the noise. He came closer and closer until his nose was practically up against the window, trying to peer out into the thick darkness. His expression dropped. Following me, I peered out the window next to him, and my eyes met with the dark figure outside. I stopped, feeling my blood freezing out of fear. My father beckoned for me to step back, to which I obliged as he opened the window.
Hey! What the hell do you think you're doing? We got kids in here! Leave now or I'll call the police!
My dad shouted, waving his phone around. The man just stood there, holding a snowball in his right hand, grinning wildly.
Yo, my man's look crazy as that. Why his teeth so sharp? He look like he enjoy making other people miserable. Boy. And his clothes toe up. Yeah. He like this.
My father closed the window, shutting it tightly, dialing the police as he did so whilst I stared at the man, feeling my eyes welling up with fear. He slowly raised his left hand and pointed a finger. First towards me, then towards him. As we waited for the police, the man refused to leave. Instead, he remained standing there, grinning. Eventually, the police entered the house, but by the time they went out, he was gone. My father and I went out there with them, and after an extremely short search, the true horror became clear. Behind the shed, the only thing in the garden was a man-made igloo. This was where the snow had gone. This man had been just meters away from us for the last 2 nights. He may have left for now, but there was no telling what he was waiting here for. What if we had gone out there? Every year since, we checked the entire garden in case he returns. We weren't safe. Christmas is now rotten with fear.
Hey, what can you say? Some people just don't like Christmas or joy that other people have. Protect your joy.
Christmas is usually a time of peace and joy, but sometimes it's a time when the strangest and most horrific things can happen. The story is from when I was a kid. At that time, I couldn't defend myself. I couldn't run away from home or call the police. At that time, I could only depend on my parents to protect me. And the moment they couldn't do it, I came face to face with death and almost didn't survive to tell the story. Truth be told, Christmas didn't used to be my favorite holiday. Make no mistake, I enjoyed the presents, the food, and the arrival of Santa Claus. But since my whole family was quite young and my parents had me when they were very young, I was the only boy in the family, except for my oldest aunt who had a baby. This was really very boring, since the party where the children were supposed to enjoy the most turned into a boring family dinner for adults. After we all gathered at the table to eat, I went to the dining room to play alone. And that's when it all started. At that moment, I thought maybe I had seen too many horror movies, but I could have sworn I saw someone through the window, as if a shadow had run past. I approached the window to get a better look,
Why?
but I couldn't see anything. I thought maybe it was my imagination. Behind the window was a man with a terrifying demon mask. The mask had a huge grin on it. From behind the window, the man tapped on it slowly and pointed to the front door. As a kid, my first impulse was to walk away slowly. The man turned his head in disappointment. After that, he left the window and went in the direction of the front door. A few seconds later, someone started banging on it.
That must be Henry with the beer. I'll go get it.
Dad, don't open it! It's not Uncle Henry! It's a man in a demon mask!
Your family knock on your door like that, like they ain't got no brain? That's crazy. Speaking of no brain, today at work there was this guy. He saw it was a big old coffee spill. I guess it was coffee, whatever it was. The lady told me it was spilled. But boy, this man damn near broke his leg trying to walk through that spill. Terrible. Why y'all got brains and don't use them?
What are you talking about? Have you lost your mind, Joshua? It's your uncle.
There was just a man at the window with the demon mask. I swear it's not Uncle Henry.
So I have a hot take.
What the hell?
AI is not just a buzzword. If
What he doing
used
on that
Monday
porch
CRM.
though?
I'm so glad you said that. So for
Hesitantly, my dad went to the door and looked through the peephole. After doing so, he raised his head and opened the door. My first instinct was to run away, but I stopped when I saw a familiar face. It was my Uncle Henry, just like my dad said.
Josh just mistook you for a demon.
I knew I shouldn't have got that haircut.
Dad, I'm serious. There was a man with a mask in the window.
Josh, I know you're bored, but you can't scare adults like that. You always do that.
I'm serious this time, I swear.
Without listening to me anymore, my dad had gone back to the kitchen with my uncle to put the beer away. I don't know how much I could blame him for not believing me. As a kid, I used to make up imaginary friends. And that night, my dad was a little too drunk. I was very...
Yo, you got a terrible dad. I'm just saying. I'm saying your dad is trash. You need a new one.
very scared of this man. So I decided to continue playing in my room, going upstairs. Just in case, I locked the door with a chair. I spent a few minutes bored, knowing that at midnight my parents would come to pick me up to watch the fireworks. But I started to fall asleep. I didn't think I could stay awake a minute longer.
Josh, come down! It's already midnight. They're shooting fireworks.
From my bedroom window overlooking the courtyard, I could see beautiful fireworks covering the whole sky. I stared out my window. My family was already outside, watching the huge amount of lights in the sky. Suddenly, someone started banging on my door.
Coming!
I was about to open it when I realized something. I looked out the window again. There's Mom, Dad, the uncles, grandparents. They're all downstairs. Then, who's banging at the door?
Kid, could you open the door for me, please? I just want to talk.
It's you, the guy with the mask! Get out of here or I'll tell my parents!
Oh, you don't want to do that. I'll be very angry.
Desperate, I opened the window and shouted to my parents.
Dad! Mom! Help! There's someone trying to get in my room!
At that moment, my parents got scared and tried to open the backyard door, but they couldn't do it. It was locked. Someone locked it from the inside. They started kicking it in desperation. Meanwhile, the voice behind me got louder and louder.
Didn't you hear me? I told you I would be angry!
Get out of here! I'm not opening it!
Oh, come on, Josh. You'll like where I'm taking you. It's full of children's corpses you can play with.
Help!
Josh, you know what I did to them all? I strangled them.
Whoa,
I did
whoa,
the
whoa,
same
whoa,
thing
whoa, hold
I'm going
on,
to
wait.
do to you. I
Hold
squeezed
on,
their
now you
necks with
can't
my
get-
huge hands and watched their lives go.
While he was saying
Hey,
this,
this is
the
crazy.
man with the mask was about to break the door. I saw the wood begin to break little by little. It wouldn't resist much longer. I looked out the window again, My whole family was still trying to break into the house any way they could.
Why they not just breaking the
My
window?
father grabbed a rock and threw it at the window outside,
About fucking
breaking it.
time.
At
Stupid.
that moment, the pounding in my room stopped. I looked back at the door. There was no one trying to break it, but someone was still behind it.
You know, Joshua, I've been watching you for weeks. When you get out of school, when you hang out at your friend Steven's house, when you go swimming. I could kill you whenever I want. I just wanted to do it at Christmas, to make it special, like I did with the other boys.
While the man was talking, I heard my dad come in through the broken window and shout from below.
Josh!
Next time I see you, little boy, I'll make sure it's not special. You're going to suffer a lot.
The voice was gone. A few seconds later, my father came up the stairs and into my room. A few seconds later, my mother and my aunt and my uncle came in. This time, no one doubted my story, as they all saw how someone tried to force my door open. When the police arrived, I listened as my father told them everything that had happened. At that moment, the psychopath not only took advantage of the fireworks to get in, but locked the door from the inside. After hearing the story, the cops assumed that everything was planned for me to stay in the house with him. All he had to do was watch us and wait for the moment to strike. And that's exactly what happened. After that, I didn't leave the house for weeks. There was always someone with me, and the police were always around. One night in February, the police came to my house telling me that they had caught the man. He called himself the Grinch, and as he told me, he was guilty of many disappearances of children my age, whose bodies turned up buried in his yard. The motive for the killings? He just wanted to make a name for himself, and thought there'd be nothing more shocking than killing children. Nothing was the same.
This is crazy. This is insane. You gotta protect your kids now.
From that day on, many years later, I still go to the psychiatrist because of that man. Every time I sleep, I dream about what would have happened if I hadn't locked the door to my room. I dream of him hanging me as promised. I dream that I'm a boy again and he comes looking for me at my school. I dream that once again, I'm helpless.
Oh my God.
He may be condemned to life in prison, but at the same time, he is still with me. And I feel that he always will be.
Imagine being able to
Hold
build
on.
anything just by thinking about
Hold on,
it.
folks.
Meet Base 44, a complete AI creation platform
Hopefully this,
anyone with an idea.
hopefully it'll last.
and a drive to bring it to life.
You know what I'm saying?
Describe
Okay, yeah, it's almost done.
I'm
Hopefully this
honestly
will
not
last for
sure
the
what I
last
was
of it. I
thinking
gotta put
when
my
I signed
headphones
up
on
for
the
an
charger.
anonymous Secret Santa program online.
Okay.
I was bored and lonely after a nasty breakup, and I desperately wanted someone to seek me out, to think of me. In retrospect, maybe I should have just tried online dating. Still, all I wanted was a gift. A single, heartwarming little bundle of joy. Gosh, even thinking that makes me roll my eyes. I've never been the sappy kind, but I just wanted to be cared for, just once in my life. Looks like that was far too much to ask for. I sighed, tapping the side of the small black box anxiously as I peered into it once more. Maybe its contents would be replaced by something more favorable, more normal, perhaps. Maybe I was just going crazy, and the present I got was completely normal. No matter how many times I looked away and back, the contents of the box remained exactly the same. What the? Pictures of me from when I was still married to my ex right up until now. Some were very recent. On one, I was decorating the Christmas tree in my cheesy patterned pajamas. But the thing was, something didn't quite add up. There were pictures where I knew there was no one in the house with me when they were taken. A few where I was lounging on the couch, face tear-stained, hair messy, an awful sight, really. But there were photos where I was different. On some, I was smiling happily, staring nearly into the camera. On others, I was sleeping peacefully. I wanted to gag. Was this my mother pulling some wild prank on me? I'd fallen out with her a few years ago, roughly when I divorced my ex. She felt like I'd given up.
That's funny. Or, well, sad. Because why y'all been giving up on your parents? You only get one. You only get one mother and one father. Now, some situations are unforgivable. We don't know what happened in her story, but she didn't say. So, if y'all got good relationships with y'all parents, I'm proud of you. You know? Because we all know we only get one mother and father.
On a comfortable life because I didn't want to stay with that jerk. I shook my head. My ex was the past, and I really needed to start thinking about him. He wasn't the reason why I was so distressed at the moment, after all. Maybe it was him? Maybe he's trying to force me to run back to his open arms, terrified? I mumbled to myself mostly, some of my words slurred together. My thoughts felt jumbled and body heavy, though it was likely due to the socks still barely allowing me to think clearly.
The socks.
Pat has moved on from me ages ago. Heck, we divorced because he moved on while we were still together. Stupid cheater. But then, what was going on? No letter came with the photos, though they were all dated. On most of them, the ink was a bit smudged, as if they'd been pocketed quickly. That didn't really give me any better idea of the photographer behind them, but it felt a bit odd. Who are you kidding, girl? Whoever took these pictures is a lunatic, with or without the ink smudges. And yet, I felt just as crazy as I looked through them again and again, desperately trying to look for a signature, a name, or just anything. I found nothing. But then, it dawned on me. The website I'd signed up for was supposed to let me know where my present came from once I opened it. Ha! Looks like whoever they are, they won't stay anonymous for long. I'll just call the cops and... I said that perhaps a touch too haughtily. Half of my sentence was caught in my throat, silenced by the familiar thud of the main door being closed. Of course, I was so busy trying to comprehend the situation that I'd forgotten one important detail. Whoever had taken these photos had access to my house. After all, most of them looked like they'd been taken from inside the house. Sure, maybe they'd been standing outside on something, perhaps straight behind the windows in that one spot that never got dusty, but there had to be some angles they couldn't get from there. Who's there? My voice sounded a lot raspier, a lot more scared, suddenly. I stood up on shaky legs, bounding towards my bedroom's white wooden door to shut it before...
Hey, don't worry. It's just your Secret Santa.
A painfully familiar voice made me swallow hard. Pat. But why? It made sense, though. I don't think I ever asked him to give his key back when he left. My attorney urged me to do so, to communicate with him, but I refused. There was no way I could talk to him after all he'd done to me. After that, he abandoned me at my weakest. And yet...
Surprise!
The man whose voice I used to adore cheered. He sounded like he was much closer now, sneaking up the stairs like the cat we used to have. The cat that he threw out on the streets because she was too loud.
Your mother told me that you were lonely. She's been asking some friends of yours to keep an eye on you, and well, it's clear that you never quite bounced back. I felt guilty, so I'm here to make things right, honey.
Why did I almost believe him for a second there? I trembled, pushing against the wall. He knew where he'd find me, of course, so I knew hiding was useless, but I felt desperate for that upper hand just for a second. He'd taken so...
Is this what y'all go through? Ladies? Now, I don't know why she didn't immediately kick him out the house. Well, why she didn't immediately call the police? Ain't he supposed to be married to somebody else? Hey, I don't know.
So much from me before, and he was suddenly back, destroying the one nice thing I'd wanted to do so badly. My only wish. I shook my head. No, he wasn't gonna do it. I had to. I had to do something.
But what you wanna do? What you trying to do?
A shaky breath nearly got caught in my lungs when 3 quick knocks sounded on the bedroom door. It used to be familiar. It used to be our thing, just knocking on random surfaces to announce our arrivals or to get each other's attention. But it sounded threatening. It felt like if I allowed him in, something terrible would happen.
Open the door.
I didn't realize I opened the window until I was standing in front of it, the merciless winter wind hitting me in the face every few seconds. It was so cold, and I was up quite high.
Wanna make sure.
But I didn't care. I wanted the one way out.
Wait, honey, you need to...
I stood in the window for a few seconds, crossing my fingers that I could find. Just like the cat I'd loved once,
I'm sorry.
I thought I would land on my feet, though the ground was covered in ice.
Dang, she dove out there. Whoa, heck you no. Alright, well, we've come to the end of this video. You see who made the video. Go to their page. So until next time, I was your host, Mr. DJ After Dark. And until next time, I'll see you. Peace.